Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Well, that is me, and this is, in fact, Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. Thanks for listening to the show, and thanks for joining in. We're glad you're here. If you've never heard Tampa Home Talk before, the mission of our show is to help you keep and maintain great credit, live within your means, and build wealth. We love to talk about anything in and around the real estate space as well. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our guest that we have for today's show, and I will get his name right because I've messed it up a lot before the show started, so I had just enough time to get it right. Wouldn't you agree, Mark?
I agree.
Okay. So we have Mark Cudia with Premium Painters. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
So we had an excellent conversation. Some of this stuff like happens off air before you actually tune in or before you hear us. So I do my best to kind of recreate that and bring some of it back on the air because that's really where the magic happens, right? When the mics are not on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Pat George back there's a little cranky today. He's got a fast. He can't eat for a couple hours. So
a couple hours? Why don't we try 8?
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
He hasn't eaten since 5. So if he sounds a little cranky when he's giving you the traffic, that's why.
If I sound a little thinner.
He's got a couple extra pounds. He's not going to die, I promise.
Yes, my buckle is almost touching my backbone because I'm so hungry.
Oh, my gosh. You will be able to entertain your mind, I'm sure. So, paint. This is an interesting thing, and we were talking also about how paint has evolved over time. And it's interesting because, you know, the low VOC, the no VOC, that's kind of been a big deal for a while. And, you know, we're going to jump into that and talk about some of those things. But before we do, let's talk about your background. Who are you? How long you been around? Where'd you come from?
Absolutely. My background, I went to college and got the entrepreneurial spirit and decided to open up a painting company. We opened about 16 years ago down in the South Florida market, and we've grown by leaps and bounds, and we now have 6 offices across the state. Best decision I've ever made. Everybody needs a painter, and I found that in the Tampa Bay market, it is very, very, it's a very, very hot topic. It's a market with the Florida environment, the sun, the heat, the humidity, all those things that paint doesn't like. So
are you from here? Are you from the Florida area originally, or did you come from somewhere else?
I came from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
I'm born and raised in Florida.
So you're a Florida boy. Yep. You're familiar with the humidity and the climate and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
It's interesting you say that, though, because many folks are from somewhere else, and then they come here and they're not quite sure how to adapt to this region.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the humidity. A lot of the folks that come down from up north, it takes them a couple of years to get acclimated.
Yes, definitely. It's interesting, too. We were talking before the break, and you were saying that some of the things that people have the hardest time with, and I could totally see this, are colors.
Colors are difficult. Generally speaking, whether we're doing an interior exterior estimate, is people need help with colors. We do color consultations, and we help the homeowner decide, because many times they walk into a store and they see 1,000 colors and they don't know where to begin. And a general rule of thumb is, for instance, if we're working on an exterior, is look at the roof color. Is it a shingle roof? Is it a tile roof?
Excellent point.
Generally speaking, your roof color is going to dictate what you're going to pick for your exterior color. The other thing to look at is make it look different than the rest of your homes. We've painted in neighborhoods where the entire street is a version of a tan or a brown.
Isn't that horrible?
Mix it up a little bit.
The other thing, too, and I was asking you about this before the show, but we have a customer that literally and I guess they are ever so slightly different, but, you know, being a real estate agent and also having that staging background, we know how to look for that stuff as well. And this house is like almost all one color, and we're getting it ready to go on the market. And one of the things I suggested was that we paint the trim color a different color. So that's going to require HOA approval and stuff, but it's really going to make that house pop.
Absolutely. And that's a good point to make, Katrina, is with With the exterior of your home, generally speaking, I'm seeing hundreds, if not thousands of homes on a annual basis is trim color is important. Working with a lot of interior decorators, one of the things that generally people do is if you have a darker body color of your home, go with a lighter trim color.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I wanted to ask you about that because it's interesting. And, when we were talking about the color, and that is a hard thing, I think, for a lot of people is, and they're like, well, what color should we go? And I'm like, well, look around at your neighbor's house. Let's look and see what you like, because you see some houses with the lighter trim and some with the darker trim.
Yep. And it works the opposite way. If you have a lighter body color of your home, go with a darker trim color. Make it truly an accent. In my honest opinion, when I see homes where it's a darker body color and a darker trim color, it doesn't pop. It doesn't really stand out.
It's too bold. The whole thing is just too dark.
Exactly.
So it should be the opposite. It's a contrast.
Yep, it's a contrast. Lighter body color, darker trim color.
So where's that threshold of the house is airing more on the dark side versus the light side to know which way to go? Because some of these browns, they're pretty neutral. Like I would say they're kind of like middle of the road. Like they could go either way.
Generally, there really is no right answer for the body color of whether one person thinks it's dark or one person thinks it's light. Generally speaking, is whatever color you want to be your contrast or trim color, it's how it looks against it. If it tends to look washed out or doesn't have a whole lot of differentiation from the main body color,
right,
you're probably not on the right track. So the main thing is to make it pop. And general rule of thumb, the worst case scenario is if you don't know, there's a reason why you see many homes where they have a version of a white trim or an off-white trim, because you can't go wrong. They go with everything, and if you don't know, that's always a safe bet.
So get a little bit of an off-white if you're not quite sure.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure it's happened before where you guys have painted it and they're like, oh no, I really don't like this. Like, let's stop and paint it a different color.
It's happened many times. We've painted a home and then the homeowner doesn't like it. Or in the case, the wife liked it, the husband did not, or vice versa. And the next thing you know, they paint the house. And a couple weeks later, they give us a call and said, we do not like it, and come back out and repaint. While we try to give our opinion, at the end of the day, it's what they like. We'll try to help you, but at the end of the day, it's what you like. We won't force your hand to pick a certain color, but...
And let's face it, Mark, if you're looking at this little swatch of paint, it never looks the same on the house as it does in that little swatch of paint.
Great point. One of the things, and this is very, very important, and we always say never trust a little color swatch or a postage stamp size of what you're going to be spending a lot of money on what is a rather large investment when it comes to renovating your house, is painting the exterior or interior for that matter. If you're uncertain with colors, the contractor should always be able to provide you samples. One of the things we do at Premium Painters is we'll set up a color appointment in which we will help not only with colors, but once you get a choice and you're leaning towards a few colors for the body or trim, we will order the samples and physically apply them to your home.
Now, I like that. I like that you physically are going to paint those colors on there, because I think a lot of people are visual.
Absolutely.
So when you get the paint on there, you can actually see what that looks like. And then what about if you're looking at trim colors too? If they're trying to decide maybe the difference between a black or a white.
Absolutely. And with that color selection, we'll want to pick a couple samples that are what you're leaning towards for the body color, and we'll want to pick a couple colors that you like for the trim color. Put them side by side. And what we tell a lot of homeowners is when they're physically applied to the home, look at them in the morning, look at them in the afternoon, and look at them in the evening. Because generally speaking, colors will take on a shade different depending on lighting. Lighting is very, very important. And what you might like in broad daylight, you won't like when the sun goes down. And we see that a lot with darker colors. We've painted homes where we warn them that once the sun goes down, your home is going to look very, very, very dark. So you want to keep those things in mind. How is it going to look?
So the idea, if that color is really dark, let's say they still love it, that trim should be as light as possible, like white.
Absolutely. And there's a reason. You drive through a lot of neighborhoods, the most popular trim color is going to be a white or a version thereof.
Yeah. It's interesting too, like if you've ever painted with black paint, it looks so like, oh, black. But there are some like where the shutters just look fantastic.
Yep.
Being painted that darker color, or the accents look amazing with that darker color.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things, and we've painted a lot of homes recently in a gray tone. So the body color is in a gray tone with white trim, black shutters, and a red door. Looks very, very classy. It looks elegant. We've
It
done a number
sounds
of
funny
homes
when
that-
you describe it like that, but it really does look good.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have shutters along the front of your home. Having black shutters, it looks very, very, very nice.
And it's interesting too because gray is that new neutral. So like where everybody 20 years ago, they painted the whole house white. It was white, 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 stark white. Like everything was just crisp and white. Then they went to like the beige with the white baseboards.
Yep.
And now everyone's leaning towards the grays.
Yep.
And you're still seeing a lot of gray.
A lot of grays for interior color selections as well as exterior color selections.
And the other thing too that I've seen, and you've probably seen this as well, the gray, and then they paint the baseboards black. Have you seen that? Have you done a lot of those?
We've done a few, not a whole lot. It's more in contemporary type designs.
Definitely agree. We just had a listing that's actually under contract. Solid black baseboards, had to get those things painted white because it was just too much at matched with the decor.
We just did one last week.
All right, you're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Stick around. You hear the music rolling, so we got to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute. You can call us with your paint questions at 888-404-1010. Back in a minute.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888, 712-8888, or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com, thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
I'm Katrina Madewell with Keller Williams Realty and Tampa Home Talk, and for more than 23 years, we have been helping homeowners sell. Flexible terms with the rate to sell it yourself. Let my results speak.
They were able to get us a full price offer and a contract in our house in 9 days.
I just wanted to express my gratitude in finding a cash buyer for my property in less than 24 hours.
I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor. Call 813-777-1196. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Tampa Bay's Business Address, Money Talk 1010, and on FM at 103.1. There are shows to help you understand finances and everything that affects your ability to earn a living. Business Rockstars, Monday through Friday morning from 5 to 7, is a fast-paced show with today's rockstar entrepreneurs. Tampa Bay's financial planner Michelle Osborne and Q105 afternoon personality Flash Morgan take the mystery out of investing every Friday morning at 8. Local attorneys Dave Papa and Stan Geip have teamed up with state-of-the-art automobile repairman and expert witness Dan Cooley Mondays at 8 for Rights and Repairs, an entertaining and informational show about your legal rights and the science of auto repair. Thanks for listening to all of our shows about subjects from real estate to financial planning to relationships in this fast-paced century and more. Tell your friends to join you on Money Talk 1010 and on FM at 103.1 and 99.5 HD2.
Welcome back. This is Tampa Home Talk. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. If you're just tuning in for the show, we're here with Mark Cudia of Premium Painters, and we're talking about some of the trends that we've seen in painting, including the grays. So I've got a question, and it's so funny. We talked about all the different shades, right? So it's just how my mind thinks, like, oh, 50 Shades of Gray. Yeah, literally. But are people painting the inside of the house gray and the outside? Are you seeing that? Or are you still seeing that contrast between outside and inside?
Generally, between the inside and outside, absolutely. Gray is so popular. It's not uncommon. They pick a tone of gray for the outside of the home, and then it kind of follows its way inside. But generally speaking, what you have on the outside of your home doesn't really dictate what you have on the inside of the home. Even my own home, well, I own a painting company, so it's a little different, but rooms are all different colors for that reason. My house is a Mediterranean architecture, but you get inside and there's a lot of different colors. Some of them are warm neutrals, some of them are colder colors.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you were to sell your house, we would usually absolutely always recommend that you come in and you paint that whole thing one neutral color.
Yep.
And it's the difference between the way you sell your house and the way you live in it. And we say this all the time. I must say it 1,000 times a week. Yep. But it's really a total different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Working with real estate agents or people getting ready to put their homes on the market. If there's some crazy colors on the inside, you neutralize it, keep it one color, because at the end of the day, you want the person looking at that listing as, oh, wow, this is move-in ready. Either way, people are going to generally paint to make their house a home.
And it's interesting too, when you talk about paint, like it's one of the lowest cost things that you can do to get your home ready to go on the market with the absolute highest return.
Absolutely.
I know you're going to agree with that.
No doubt about it. Not just because I own a painting company, but I look at some of these homes, and especially working with this hot real estate market. A lot of homes are going on the market, and you'll walk in and you'll see a lot of things: bright red bedrooms, kids' rooms, crazy colors. Like you mentioned earlier before the break was black trim. Anybody that's looking at it, the cost to essentially repaint those few rooms and neutralize them is insignificant when you look at that. Might make or break whether your home, first impressions are everything.
Some of the things we love to do too is a pre-listing open house. And that home that I was describing to you before the break, they had the black baseboards and stuff. We're like, all right, let's tone this down a little bit because there was a red wall as soon as you walked in. So we had to tone that down, which we did. So it was a progressive thing, right? And it's like, once they paint, they're like, oh, I don't want to paint anymore. But the feedback that we got from the pre-listing open house was overwhelming, like to the point to where we're like, yeah, we got to paint this before we put it on the market. It's like not even an option.
Yeah, if generally the first people that see it go, ooh, I like the house, but wow, that color is strong.
It's time to change it.
Change it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference. I had another property not too long ago that was fantastic. And as soon as you walk in, it was orange. And I just said that we got to tone this down. I know it's not the whole house, but it's the first thing you see. And I believe that kept us from getting an offer for the first several months it was on. As soon as they painted it, we got an offer right away.
Yep. Absolutely.
Interesting.
And the other thing is, especially not only on the inside, but on the outside, if the house is in fair condition, the paint is in fair condition on the outside, is if somebody walks up to the house, the first thing they see is, wow, all right, the paint's faded, or wow, the paint's peeling. Doesn't look like the house, one, is not taken care of. So if people aren't taking care of one of the least expensive
outside
things to perk up a home and add value to it, what are they doing on the inside? Has the roof been taken care of? Has the air conditioned? All the other things that go along with home ownership.
And sometimes, when people are looking at homes, they maybe are looking at multiple homes back to back. So they might not notice it the first thing, and they might not even notice like you would notice because you do that for a living. I probably would notice because we see a lot of houses. But for the most part, people might not notice, this house needs a paint job. Like one of the telltale signs that we can tell is when we touch the paint and it's chalky in our hand. We're like, oh yeah, it's time to paint the house.
If it's chalky, it's already years past being due for repaint. That's a good thing to talk about, Katrina, is paint chalkiness and what that ultimately is. In layman's terms, it's just that the paint is broken down. It's no longer protecting or waterproofing your house, and the pigment's starting to come off on your hands.
And that's a big thing. Like what you just said, I don't want the person listening to skip past that because essentially that's what paint does. Like that's the purpose of paint. We've made it a beautification type of thing where the accents can make the home look amazing and really just give it some contrast. But honestly, paint was originally intended to keep the water away from your house.
Yep, absolutely. Besides just looking pretty, it serves a purpose. An exterior coating is meant to waterproof it, keep moisture out of the stucco, out of the wood, keeps the wood from rotting.
So let's talk about that. What type of paint do you use? Like what are some of your, what brand of paint do you use? Which ones do you recommend? Because usually we're going to recommend something with that latex type stuff in it because that's going to last a lot longer.
Generally on an exterior for a residential application, it's 100% acrylic paint. And to answer your question, what paint do we use? At the end of the day, the best answer is we'll use whatever the homeowner wants to use. But
so if someone says, hey, I already have paint, I just want to freshen up my outside, or I feel like my last painter didn't do a good job, can you come paint? I still have 5 gallons of this thing. Can you paint? Will you do it?
Probably not. Depends on the age of the paint, how long it's been sitting there. And at the end of the day, if it's just leftover paint, it's not going to cover the entire home if they're going to repaint. And if a number of years goes by, you buy new paint, the tint could be off, the color could be slightly different. We wouldn't want our name on it. At the end of the day, we'll want to do a system that works. Mm-hmm. And to your question, the paints that we use, we'll use any manufacturer. We do have a few like Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, Scott Paint here in Florida, the Florida Paint Company that we do prefer. But at the end of the day, there's a certain process that anybody painting outside of a home should follow.
Right.
And if you want to touch on that, Katrina, we absolutely
yeah,
can. Yeah,
dive into it, because we talk about that all the time. When people try to touch up paint, it usually doesn't go so well because that old paint has faded with the sun and it doesn't match what's in the bucket, and then you have to repaint the whole thing.
Yeah, if it's the front of the home and it gets a lot of sun exposure and you go to touch up, that paint is faded. Even in a couple years' time, it's faded. All the paint is going to fade. It's just that depending on the caliber and quality of the paint that you use for the exterior coating, usually the products at a higher price point are going to have better longevity, better fade resistance. And those are the big things. But when it comes to painting a home, we get asked this a lot. What is your process?
Yeah, what is the process?
To keep it simple, it's pressure wash the home and clean it thoroughly. Use a primer, base coat, followed by your top coat application. When we were just touching on the chalkiness of an exterior coating, if you're wiping your hands and it's coming off chalky, essentially that is not a good surface for you to just go and apply a top coat of paint.
What happens if someone were to do that?
You will have blistering or peeling 100% of the time within a few years. Ultimately, any painting contractor will want to use a primer, sealer, base coat. And what that does is after you pressure wash, it takes that chalky surface and seals it in and makes it a desirable surface for the top coat, the most expensive part, to bond to.
Let's talk about the exterior too and the preparation, because I see a lot of painters that are not experienced actually do this, and I want to touch on it. But the landscaping, I mean, all that stuff has to be pulled back away from the foundation so the paint can go down far enough to actually seal the house.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things that we do, and one of the things you'll want to do as a homeowner, is when you go to pressure wash and when you go to prep the home, you'll want to pull back the mulch and you'll want to be able to pull back the soil as far as you can get without, if there's sod going up to the house, you naturally don't want to damage the sod, but you'll want to go a little bit below the soil line.
Is that something typically the homeowners are doing, or are you guys helping with that?
No, we do that. It's just doing a small trench. Generally speaking, it's almost more for aesthetic purposes, believe it or not, because if you happen to have mulch or soil changes or erosion, you don't have that unsightly line showing from the street of, oh, wow, they didn't paint down far enough and we can actually see the color of our home, what it was years ago.
Right.
But in a nutshell, you want to pressure wash, you want to use a primer sealer as a base coat, and then you want to follow it up by a top coat. Then you will have a good paint job that will last you a number of years. And the number one most important thing is you won't have blistering or peeling or what we call in our industry bonding issues.
Mm-hmm. How long should that paint last? If someone uses a good quality paint and they follow the steps you mentioned, how long can they expect that to last?
We give a 7 to 10 year warranty, labor warranty, depending on the product we use. Generally speaking, if you're using one of those upper echelon paints, and that means if you're going to look at whether you're at Home Depot or Lowe's or at a paint store, and that exterior coating somewhere in the $40 price range or higher, you're going to get, generally speaking, somewhere between year 7 and year 12, you're going to repaint. And it's
so the more expensive the paint, the longer it's going to last. Is that safe to say? Okay.
It's going to give you better fade resistance. It's going to last longer. And with that, 7 to 12 years, it seems like it's a big window, but there's a lot of different things that can go into how long a paint is going to last on the exterior. Sun exposure, moisture, heat, humidity, all those things that coatings don't like.
Right. And it's interesting, too, we're talking also about the oil-based paint. That's a big deal. Some of these older homes, the older style bungalows built in the early 1900s, those you just can't come in and throw some
latex paint on.
you?
Yep, you cannot.
So I guess the paint that I bought at the flea market for $5 a gallon is probably not going to do a good job.
Oh,
probably not.
That
Great.
probably came out of someone's garage, Pat, and it was likely like 5-10 years
Well, I know
old.
the last time I bought some at a garage sale, first time it rained, it washed right off. So that's why I bought it at the flea market this time.
He's so goofy. We have our Pat George here. We're glad you're here, Pat. So we'll have a few more questions coming up, and we got a little special guest tuning in here a little bit later. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. If you got any questions, I got a question. We're going to ask it after the break, but it's like this burning desire that painters always skip, and we'll talk about it when we come back. 888-404-1010. 888-404-1010. We'll be back in just a minute.
And it's my turn. Traffic and weather's next. Medical malpractice can often destroy a patient's health and result in death. Call Pop and Gype, a personal injury law firm for medical malpractice help, 727-461-HELP. Or log on to papaandgype.com. I-4 from Lakeland through Plant City all the way to Tampa. Earlier accident, we had around 27 gone, so nothing all the way into Tampa from that point. Clearwater just had an accident occur at Whitney Road in Dodge Circle. And looking down at Palm Harbor, US 19 at County Road 39. Still got a lane block from a crash there. Seminole Boulevard northbound at 106. That one's out of the way. Howard Franklin Bridge is doing okay. Well, this report is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm is collecting new clothes to help foster kids in your community look and feel their best. Bring your donation to a participating Mattress Firm or donate online at mattressfirmfosterkids.org. 77 in Tampa. Hot one today.
Let's face it, having a criminal arrest record really stinks. And it hurts when others make unfair judgments about you. Employers, landlords, lenders, even the person you may want to date. Take down this number, 813-254-9205. Attorney Jim Souza has sealed and expunged arrest records for more than 20 years. Go to restoremyname.net or call 813-254-9205.
Are you looking for your next home? The truth is that most buyers want a home, not a real estate agent. I understand, but factually, you need an experienced agent on your team like me. I'm Katrina Madewell with
Keller Williams Realty,
host of Tampa Home Talk, and I've been in the real estate and mortgage industry selling homes for more than 23 years, and it would be our pleasure to help you find your next home. Love where you live, or I'll fix it. Welcome home. 813-936-2302. 813-936-2302.
Thanks for joining us on Money Talk. 1010 on the AM dial, 103.1 on the FM dial, and 99.5 FM HD2. HD radio is an additional way to listen on the FM dial. Check your owner's manual. You may have an HD capable radio and not even know it. Hear Money Talk on 1010 AM, 103.1 FM, and 99.5 FM HD2. Check out your owner's manual. It's not satellite radio, it's HD radio. If you got it, try us at 99.5 HD2.
Here's a recipe for some fun. Take 2 microphones and a telephone. Then mix in a redneck like Q105's Mason Dixon and a former Army sergeant and radio guy like Charlie Oakes. Put them on the radio every day at 11 a.m. Turn them loose, then open up the phone lines to add spice with your comments. The result is an entertaining hour on Mason Dixon Wide Open with the Sarge. You can be part of the show every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. till noon on Money Talk 1010. Your toll-free number to call in is 888-404-1010. They'll be talking about whatever's on their minds and your mind. And with these two, you never know where that'll take them. No subject is going to be out of bounds. Just keep it clean. The subjects go from political talk to what's happening in Tampa Bay. And they love anything with wheels and an engine, so cars will always be a subject. Listen to Money Talk 1010 every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. for Mason Dixon Wide Open with the Sarge on Money Talk 1010.
Traffic in the Tampa Bay area is among the worst in the nation, with the average commute about an hour a day. If anything goes wrong, you can double it. Do your part to help by being a Money Talk traffic ranger. Call us if you see traffic problems at 888-404-1010. Listen to traffic on Money Talk at 1010 a.m. or on FM at 103.1 and 92.1. Call the Money Talk traffic ranger line, 888-404-1010. Tampa Bay's best traffic at 1010 a.m. or on FM at 103.1. Call us, 888-404-1010.
Welcome back. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. In studio today, we have Mark Cudia, and he is with Premium Painters. Cranky little Pat George back there telling me, stop laughing, put your headphones on, get back to work.
He needs a sandwich.
It's like cracking the whip. Don't mention food. He might come to the class for real. So I was talking before the break, and this is the thing that we always see painters skip, and I don't know why. So tell me if you skip it or why people skip it. But the closets. Nobody ever paints the closets.
Generally speaking, it's not that we don't like to paint the closets. I know from our standpoint, when we go to an interior, besides a master bedroom closet or a pantry, if it's a spare bedroom closet, a coat closet, generally it's filled with stuff. And one reason why we even recommend with homeowners, we ask the question, do you want the closets painted? The majority of the time it's no, with the exception of those 2 areas. Pantries take a beating, and master closets, you see more wall space. But otherwise, if they're filled with clutter, don't paint them.
So the sheen, too, is interesting. I want to mention that just because I've noticed that we don't see a whole lot of the high gloss white anymore on the baseboards. Why is that?
It's
does it change with the times? Or
yeah, it changes with the times. We still see some high gloss applications, but once again, it's more in contemporary type interiors.
So what are people using?
Semi-gloss. Semi-gloss for base trim and doors is the most popular. selection.
Now, why choose that over? And what you have options, right? You have flat.
You have flat, you have eggshell, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss. Generally speaking, for baseboards and trim, they get dirty. You need washability. Semi-gloss is going to offer the best washability without a very high sheen level, which a lot of people don't necessarily like. Same goes for interior walls. Flat looks the prettiest, but it's not economical.
If you have kids and dogs, it's not a good idea.
Kids and dogs, stay away from flat paint. It'll save you a couple pennies per gallon to use flat paint. Why a lot of builders like to use it. However, but at the same time, an eggshell or satin finish, if you're going to be repainting a room, use it.
So let's give us some the person listening some tips, some painting tips, can we?
Absolutely. 2 painting tips that I would say: use a good interior or exterior coating. For an interior, the higher end coatings lay down, they make your work look good. They cover better. They just look better. Secondly, the best thing to do.
So what I'm hearing is if they're trying to spend more money on paint or they're questioning that, spend more money on paint.
Yes. Spend more money on paint. Buy a little bit better paint. Not only is it going to cover well, but when you go to apply it, it's going to apply easier. And with that said, buy a good brush. If you're going to spend all that money on paint, don't skimp on a cheap brush.
Why? Why does the brush matter?
A good brush will make even an unsteady hand cut a nice tight line.
Really?
Also, it will hold a good amount of paint and apply it more evenly. And if you take care of that brush, chances are people, the number one thing is I'm only going to use it once or twice. Clean it up. You'll be able to use it 20 years from now. Take care of it. My painters will use the same brush for months and months and months.
Really?
So
how do they clean all that paint out of the brush?
They use a brush comb. And a brush comb is it looks like a wire brush, and they put it underneath the sink, and it gets it out of all the fibers.
You won't have all those bristles in your paint.
Exactly.
On a bad brush,
you
have to pull out all the bristles out of the paint.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's not that much, right? To spend a little bit more on a brush?
No, a good brush will range anywhere from $18 to $30, but it will pay dividends. You won't be pulling your hair out.
Literally. Yep. So we didn't talk about price. What can someone expect to spend to do like an exterior price or to do an exterior paint? Let's say the home is 2,500 square feet. We use that analogy a lot. And roughly for the inside. And do you have any discounts for our listeners if they mention radio or Tampa Home Talk or my name?
Yeah, absolutely. General rule of thumb, there's a lot of different things that come into the cost of an exterior or interior. But as a general rule of thumb, if it's a 2,500 square foot single story house, you could probably look at, if you get 10 different estimates from painters, it could range anywhere from $2,500 to as high as $5,000 or $6,000. As a general rule of thumb, somewhere in the middle, $3,500 to $4,000 on a 2,500 square foot home would probably be a pretty good estimate. On an interior,
and that's going to last somebody how long with that paint?
7 to 12 years, you will repaint, and you will repaint for the single reason that it's faded and lost its luster that it had the day you had it painted, or those first.
Or if you're like me and you put a wild color in your bathroom and you're sick of it already, that happened.
Yep. And on an interior room, I always look at things as
the painters would cringe if they had to come paint my bathroom. They'd be like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, we see lots of those. But on an interior, a 10 by 10 room, which is 100 square feet, you could expect to pay somewhere between $200 and $350 to paint that, and that includes labor and materials for what is the average 10 by 10 spare bedroom. So, as a general rule of thumb,
and it just looks good and it feels good. It's like changing the sheets on your bed. It just
smells
feels good. Yeah,
and it
smells good.
It smells good. These zero VOC paints, they don't give you a headache like the old days, and a new fresh paint smell, it makes it smell like a new house.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so what can we hook our listeners up? Like the person listening, if they need to get some paint and they're like, "Oh, I like you guys, I want to hire you."
Yeah, absolutely. We give free estimates, so feel free to give us a call at 727-240-4933. Mention radio, and we are offering $500 off an exterior paint job and $250 off an interior paint job. That's 3 rooms or more.
So they could mention radio or say I heard Katrina or Tampa Home Talk on the radio and
just mention, heard Katrina, Tampa Home Talk, any of that stuff. Just mention radio and you heard me on the radio, and we'll make it happen for you.
All right. One more time, Mark Cudia's number 727-240-4933. Again, 727-240-4933. We'll give our number in just a couple of minutes if you miss him and you want to connect with him or any of our guests. And so I want to go ahead and bring in one of our guests that we have actually calling in to promote a special event. No stranger to the show. We've had her other half on. And so I want to say welcome to the show, Melissa Trinidad.
Thank you, Katrina. It's great to be on the show. I'm here with my business partner and co-race director, Bridget Donovan.
Welcome. Welcome, ladies. So what do you got for us? What do you want to talk about this morning?
Well, have you heard about the Gasparilla stand-up paddleboard invasion?
I have not, but I'm sure you're going to tell us about it, aren't you?
Well, it's going to be a great event. It is next Saturday, May 6th, during the weekend of Riverfest.
It's in Waterworks Park in downtown Tampa.
Oh, I love that park. It is so amazing what the city of Tampa has done with that. Beautiful park.
I know. It's completely revitalized the natural spring right there, which is really inviting to the hundreds of paddleboarders that will invade the Hillsborough River from Waterworks Park.
So tell me about it. Is that what they're putting in from Waterworks Park? Like, tell me the idea behind it. So it's Gasparilla. They're calling it SUP invasion, or no?
Yes.
Or stand-up paddleboard?
Gasparilla SUP invasion, which is stand-up paddleboarding, but we're also open to kayakers, canoers, surf ski paddlers, and it's a race. It's a 5K and a 10K race. We also have a kids division, a teen division. It's a totally family-friendly event. Not only do we have races going on, but we have a huge racers village with a lot of vendors and activities for spectators to enjoy.
All right, so tell me about it. Are you guys the one? Are you the magic behind the Gasparilla SUP invasion?
I say we're the instigators.
You're the instigators?
We're the instigators. But the magic really comes through the community and the partnerships that are created to put on events like Riverfest and the Gasparilla Stand-Up Paddleboard Invasion. So we have awesome partners in the Friends of the Riverwalk, which is a nonprofit that puts on Riverfest. And then we have, people from the stand-up paddle and surf community, like Jimmy Lewis, who makes the best boards on the planet.
And we have also some great local companies, such as Emmy Wilson Risk Management Insurance, that are backing our event. But we also have some really exciting participants in our race. For example, we have Team Strike a Pose, which is NBC Spartan team, which will be premiering on Monday, June 12th on NBC's National Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge. So we're really excited to have such a wide variety of people in our network.
Well, sounds like it's going to be a blast. So this is next Saturday, May 6th.
Yes.
And then what time does it start? How does somebody register? Where do they go?
Well, to register, we suggest that you register online because you can save, or you can register on the day at 7:30 a.m. So go to GasparillasUPinvasion.com to register for the race.
All right, cool. What's the cost of this?
Well, the cost is just $50 for the Elite 10K for recreational racers, and this is really our biggest division. If you're just trying stand-up paddleboarding to improve your skills or want to have a fun day on the river with your friends, it's only $40 per person in the 5K. And if you have a group of friends, you can enter as a team and get 4 racers for the price of 3.
Sweet. All right, so let me break this down and make sure I understand. So this is actually a 5K run followed by a paddleboard event, or no? Do I have that wrong?
No, this is strictly a water-based event.
So it's all paddleboard, 5K down the river.
Yes, and it's a great venue because with the Riverwalk, you can view the race the entire length of the course. We'll be launching from Waterworks Park and moving south on the river, downtown, past Curtis Hickson Park, past UT, and turning around right in that area where the Sail Pavilion and Jackson's is located. So it's a great venue for people to watch and enjoy the races, but it is strictly on the water. So
this is a 5K going that way and a 5K coming back, is that right, or no?
1 loop equals a 5K.
Okay.
2 loops equals a 10K.
Okay. So for people that have not paddleboarded like me, how's that going to work? Like they can come out and rent a board, or how would that work?
Oh, yes. Most definitely. We do have race day rentals available on site by one of our great providers that are in our network. Sea Ride will be providing our day of rental boards, and also Invictus Paddling Club. So it's a great way just to get your feet wet and hop into the sport of stand-up paddleboarding. We're open to all.
So tell me, ladies, how hard is it to stand up on a paddleboard? Because I've seen some of these people on the beach.
Well, the beach is a definite different setting than the calm waters of the Hillsborough River. There's not a better place to learn how to stand up paddleboard. Our waters here in the river are the perfect avenue venue to do your first time paddleboard race.
So what's the trick to staying up on those things?
To put your paddle in the water. A lot of people, when the water's underneath you and you feel out of balance, they put their hands up and they go, whoa! But actually, you have to put your paddle in the water, and that gives you more balance. That's what does it. So,
That sounds like a really nice core upper body workout. That's what I'm hearing.
It is a wonderful workout. Not only is it a strength-based workout, we also have the elements of cardiovascular benefits and also balance as well. So it's a great all-around sport.
And it can be very peaceful. You can enjoy the outdoors.
And you said it's a kid-friendly event, right? So it's family-friendly. Kids can come do it too?
Oh, totally. We have a kids course as well. We have a quarter-mile race for children.
All
There's also an inflatable bounce house on site, and we have DJ Corey Thornton, who educates young people through music. So
you guys are
really
going to have some great stuff. I imagine there's going to be some vendors all set up around Riverwalk as well. If you would like to enjoy an alcoholic beverage and spectate, I imagine that is an option too?
It is an option on the Riverwalk, most definitely, but we have a great Racers Village. We have about 18 vendors who will be on site.
Red Bull will be there.
All right, girls, thanks for joining in and telling us all about Gasparilla SUP Invasion. We'll be back
Thanks
in a minute.
for joining us on Money Talk at 1010 AM, 103.1 FM, and 99.5 FM HD2. This is station manager Charlie Oakes. If you have any suggestions or would like to do your own show, give me a call on my private line, 727-563-8821. Your suggestions have brought more local programming and the new FM signal. If you have an idea for a local show and would like to be part of Money Talk, call me. Money Talk is a family, and you have a vote in what the family does. Thanks for listening. 1010 AM, 103.1 FM, and 99.5 FM HD2.
Man, all over Florida are talking about this. I thought we couldn't get any bigger than we had last. But I tell you, when you take that $2,000 trip on Cruise with Huge, right? We're down to the last 400 cabins. Folks, we're taking 3,400 people with us, folks. 3,400.
It's a big party on the water.
It's a huge
party on the water.
Thank you very much.
There's a spa, there are restaurants, there are pools, there are adventures.
That casino, man, throw the dice at night, nightclubs. It's got it all, baby. 3,400.
So,
It's got 400
but
cabins left,
here's
babe.
what you need to
400
know
left.
is that there are very few left. So this is the last month that we
And
are
then we're
going to be
throw
able to
that
do
electronics
this.
package in.
That's right, included with your purchase or lease this month, and not only the cruise for you and a guest on Cruise with You 2017,
We're throwing
but
in like
an
$3,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, there's a flat screen TV and a sound bar to go with it, and there's a laptop and a drone. Who doesn't want a drone? How cool is that? All that's included this month when you purchase or lease your new Kia from Fusilo Kia anywhere in the
It's
state of
all
Florida.
about being huge in Florida. Huge.
Diabetes and increasing levels of prediabetes are a concern for all Americans. Addressing this epidemic is an uphill battle that places a huge burden on the United States healthcare system. Hi, I'm Senator Kay Wolf from Kansas and Chair of Women in Government, and I want you to know the importance of getting screened for type 2 diabetes. Early intervention is critical to help control blood sugar levels. Consistently high blood sugar levels in the body are dangerous and may not present symptoms until it's too late. In fact, type 2 diabetes significantly increases the risk of complications, including heart disease, kidney damage, and eye damage. If you have type 2 diabetes, your doctor can work with you to develop an early intervention treatment plan, including diet and exercise that fits your lifestyle. Be proactive about your health, and please talk with your doctor today about testing your blood sugar levels. To learn more, visit womeningovernment.org.
The traffic survey results are in for this year, and Tampa remains in a tie with San Diego and Atlanta for 13th in the U.S. We're down from 84th in the world to 99th. Number 1 in the world is Mexico City. Last year it was Istanbul. Can you imagine what that traffic must be like? Join Pat George's Traffic Rangers and call him or Mark Charles with traffic problems at 888-404-1010. You can make a difference on Money Talk, 1010 AM and on FM at 103.1. Call us, 888-404-1010.
Welcome back. This is Tampa Home Talks. Thank you very much for sticking with us through the break. We're glad you're here. And if you would like to connect with me to help you move in, move out, or move up, we would love to assist you with that. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775. We'd love to help you love where you live. And again, our off-air number you can call or text is 813-377-2775. And if you text the word value, we can even let you know what your house is worth. 813-377-2775. So I want to say thanks again to Melissa and Brittany for joining us to tell us all about the Gasparilla SUP Invasion. It's going to be next Saturday, May 6th. They're putting it at the Waterworks Park. Going all the way into downtown and turn it back around if you want to do a 10K. Is that her calling back? Okay, hold on. Let's patch her back in. Hey, thanks. Sorry I hung up on you here. Radio is my second job. Real estate's my first. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So thank you very much for letting us know. Is there a website people can go check out? And we'll also post this, by the way, on Tampa Home Talk and on our Facebook page. So don't stress if you don't get it. So where's the site?
It's Gasparilla. Do you want me to spell it for you?
No, just tell me and we'll post it.
Gasparilla SUP Invasion.
Got it. All right, perfect. Now, is this the first time you guys have ever done that? First year ever?
It's the third annual.
Third annual. Okay. That's what I was looking for.
And I spoke with Lisa this morning and said, we would love to have you come to our sponsors networking appreciation party this evening at the fire station.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give you guys a call when we're off air. We got a couple other shows lined up today, so we're going to be here for a little bit. Again, we're going to post Gasparilla SUP Invasion next Saturday, May 6th. Starts early out there on Riverwalk. So if you want to join in, we'll put that information on Tampa Home Talk where you can go ahead and hop on over there and pre-register. I think the cost is a little bit less if you do that. It is kid-friendly. Sounds like it's going to be a great event across the board. For spectating or anything like that at all. So, it's about that time, Pat. Did FedEx leave? I'm too early? Talk to me. What are you're not in it today.
You're way too early. You're only about 7 minutes early.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and jump in early, though, because really, we've had Mark Cudia here in the studio this morning talking all about paint. And what we didn't talk about, thank you, Pat, because I'm going there, you already know it, is the return on investment. So paint, we talked about that. Like I talked about the black baseboards that we had to paint. We talked about the orange wall that what you really had to, as soon as we painted, I'm telling you, floors. So like if you have gross carpet, get rid of it. If you got dings on your wall or scratches or you have kids or dogs, they've done some damage and some wear. And it's okay, but we're going to paint it. So roughly, what could someone expect to spend for a nice paint job on the inside? Again, 2,500 square feet. Let's say we're 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, living, dining, family room.
2,500 square foot interior home. If you're doing this, is what I'm going to give you a price is to paint the walls,
this ballpark,
walls, ceilings, doors, trim, you name it,
everything.
You could easily get upwards of $6,000 to $7,000 to repaint the entire interior of the house. If you're just doing walls, it'll be considerably less.
Okay, and so your return on investment is absolutely huge. I can tell you that paint is one of those things you will get more than dollar for dollar. Because what happens is what you have to reduce the price to in order to get it sold. Because when people see like worn paint and marks and that kind of stuff, they think, oh, well, this home wasn't cared for that well.
Yep, absolutely. It's that old adage, you either pay now or you pay later. The main
absolutely.
Yeah. The main thing is if it's crazy colors, get it neutralized. It might be the difference of your home being on the market 90 days or being on the market for 180 and paying an extra 3 months of a mortgage payment.
Not only the extra mortgage payment, but the price you're going to get. Usually, when it's on the market that long and you start at that price, especially in this market, you are not going to get that same price towards the end.
Absolutely.
So, and those price reductions, in the average price range in the Bay Area is upper 200s, almost 3. So if you have a price reduction, it's probably going to be $5,000 or $10,000.
Wow. I didn't realize that. You're the expert, but wow.
I mean, $1,000 is not going to do anything. It's not enough to get a buyer's attention. They don't, they're not paying attention to $1,000 price reduction. So they really are looking for those bigger price reductions. And many times we talk about the drop downs too, like where it actually puts your home. So, I mean, if you're priced between $275 and $300, you can have those little price reductions all day long, but you're still talking to the same pool of buyers. Once you get to $275, then you're talking between $250 and $300. So it's just a different bracket it's a different idea. So I want to tell you about a couple properties that we have on the market. We've got a couple. One's got a tenant in there, so it's a little bit harder to show, which I'm sure is why it has not sold yet. But that's only $140, and it's right there near the beaches, literally walking distance to Dunedin High School. Many of the parks, the small little waterfront parks around, like Mar Vista Park, they're all a stone's throw from the actual sand keys out there in the water. This home was only $140. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Tenant occupied for a little bit, and that is at 1645 St. Catharines Drive West. There is an east on the other side of the loop, and that is actually the wrong property. But 1645 St. Catharines Drive West is only $140. We also have 1111 Ancient Futures Drive. Approved short sale at $170. That's a great property, but that is cash only. So if you're looking for a deal in Easton Park, New Tampa, that may be your property. And we've got another one coming at 2734 Valencia Grove Drive. That one's not actually ready to be shown, but we can keep you in the loop if you're interested. And if you want some more information about any of the homes I've mentioned or anything on the market by any real estate company, we would love to be your realtor. And my off-air number is 813-377-2775. Again, our off-air number is 813-377-2775. And you can call or text in the word value, 813-377-2775. Mark Cudia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Katrina. My pleasure.
It was great to have you on. I love your homeowner tips that you gave. And again, mention your promotion one more time. I want to make sure the folks listening know.
Absolutely. We offer free estimates. So if you're looking and you're in the market for some interior exterior painting, feel free to give us a call at 727-240-4933. If you mention Tampa Home Talk, Katrina's show, radio, Premium Painters, I heard you on the radio, we will give you $500 off an exterior repaint or $250 off 3 rooms or more on the interior of your home.
Fantastic. It's a pretty good deal. And paint, it's one of those amazing things that we talked about. It just feels better and it smells better when you walk in. So there's been homes we can't get the odor out and then you paint and we're like, wow, that's what it is.
And there's neutralizing interior paints too that can kill odors. So.
Oh, I love it. Fantastic show, really, on paint. I'm so delighted that you're with us today. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you again.
Again, you can reach him at 727-240-4933, 727-240-4933. And then our off-air number is 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775.
Perfect.
We are so glad you're here. Thank you for listening. We will be back same time, same place next week. We will not be Facebook Living next week, just a heads up, but we will be here next week. Remember, love where you live, or I'm going to fix it every single time. Welcome home.